Jane, come on up.
Wow. I just am so glad to be here. You know what? I want to bring the energy back up. So I want everybody to stand up. As speakers, we always get nervous up here, so I'm going to have you do a little speaker shakedown. So I'm going to have you stand up and go ahead and shake out your arms. It's nice to stand up. That's why I stood up back there for a little bit. Shake your neighbor's hand to your left and your right. Tell them you look good tonight. Wonderful. Everyone is looking good. Go ahead and have a seat. Thank you so much. All right. Can everybody hear me all the way over there? Can you guys wave to me? All right. And over here, I know you can hear me because you're a little bit closer. Now, I am not a teacher, but I love to train. So in the middle of your tables, I've got handouts because everybody's going to stay with me on these 10 points, right? Yeah. So if you don't have pens, I know we've got tons of pens floating around. I've got some. And we're going to start on the fill-in side because then we'll do an exercise after. So go on the fill-in side that says mindset and it's got a bunch of words. All right. Mindset, myths, and manners. It's all about networking. Who here gets their dollars by meeting people at different networking events? Just a show of hands. Okay, you make money by meeting people and either talking about your product and inviting them to try your product or your service. All right, so networking, everyone should actually have their hands up. Do you know that even my 8-year-old has to network? My 8-year-old actually has to get a group of her little friends to actually like her and hang out with her. She needs to start the process of know, like, and trust. It starts early. But just like creativity, we tend to lose it over the years. We tend to make it more than it needs to be. Now, formal networking. When I was 17, let me tell you this story. When I was 17, I actually got a job at a nonprofit. I graduated from high school early. That's a totally different story. But I got this job, and my main job was to help host networking events. I had no idea what a networking event was. I had just gotten out of high school. Think about your typical high schooler. Definitely not someone who is equipped to do networking in how we know networking to be, right? Most typical high schoolers or teenagers want to hide in a corner. They can be the best networker with their group of friends on the high school campus, but put them in a room like this with adults, and they freeze up. Do some of you experience that? You can talk with your friends wonderfully, naturally. Connect with them. A lot of women in here, your girlfriends, you get together. I call that Margarita Mondays. And it's very easy to talk about, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm needing, this is where I need you to help me. That's networking. So what did I do? At 17, I needed to figure out this networking thing. So I bought a book because I knew one thing, and that was books unlock your mind. They give you information and wisdom through the ages. And so it was very important to me to get the right book. And I happened upon this book by Suzanne Rowan, and I'm going to share some of her wisdom with a little bit of my interpretation, a little bit of my special sauce, if you will, in how to work a room. So you guys ready to learn 10 steps? Yeah. All right, so we're going to start with, what is a room? What is a room? Did you realize a room can be a family gathering? How many of you have big enough families where you feel like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people here? You know, how do you talk to those people you haven't met before? How do you have those conversations? A room is, in the traditional business sense, here, something like this. A room could also be your boss, your workplace, your coworkers, wherever you do business, if it's traditional business, right? There are many times where you have to think on your feet, meet people, situation you find the most trying, picture that group as we go through these. All right, so I titled my talk, Mindset, Mints, and Manners. I have a thing about titling stuff, and I just love it because it's easy to remember, and it actually means something as far as networking is concerned. So let's go ahead with our first fill-in. Mindset. So what mindset do we need to have? First, we need to prepare. So your first fill-in is prepare. How do I prepare? I go to a lot of networking events. I'm part of a few. I'm in leadership with a few. How do I prepare? I actually call it getting happy in my car. How many of you have had a rotten day? Just admit it. Rotten day, kind of, not the best day you've ever had in the world today. Get happy in your car. You literally get in your car. We all drive here. I only know one person who's actively only riding their bicycle everywhere. Okay? So in your car, set the radio up. I love music. It gets you in a better mood. Don't put your heartbreak song on right before you're about to go in the networking event, right? Because that is not attractive. Think of networking as your arena for business dating. Think about that. Would you want to date you? I don't know. I would totally love to date me. I'm just saying. Because I prepare and get my energy up. Because who wants a downer? You didn't come here to share your misery with 70 other people. You came here so that you can share the joy of your business with other people. And that's what they want to see. That is what is attractive. So please prepare. And the second fill-in, number 2, attend. You have no idea how many unfulfilled RSVPs happen if they RSVP. Who's with me on that? Who is a meeting person who has arranged stuff and they're like, really? RSVP? Yes. I have a hotel to fill. And attend, because that helps you have some integrity to yourself. That is the most important person. Having your integrity to yourself, saying, I've RSVP'd, I've committed, I've fulfilled that commitment by showing up. Showing up is actually 90% of the game here, right? We may have multiple industries that we're representing and people representing those industries, but if you constantly show up and that person sees you, it was mentioned by some of the other folks earlier, when you show up month after month, they're saying you're consistent. I don't know why I like you, but I see you all the time. You're consistent. I see you. You see me. We hang out. I've gotten to know you a little bit. We have that process going. Attend. 3, try strategies to connect with others. Strategies. My favorite strategy. If I have a brand new networking organization that I'm a part of, I bring a wingman. I'm not going to lie. I bring a wingman, a buddy, a networking buddy, who I can say, hey, we're going to go together. We're going to split up. And you go over there and talk to who you're going to talk to. I'm going to go over there. Now, if I feel insecure, I'm going to talk to you. Because how many people here will join 2 people talking? But if you have one person standing by themselves, you probably won't approach them. I actually do the opposite. I approach that one person standing by themselves because that person is probably totally cool and keeping it all to themselves. That's my theory. And I've met some very interesting people like that. But try strategies. Do out-of-the-box stuff. Ask them crazy stuff. Like, hey, those are some kicking shoes. Where'd you get those shoes? I love that. Compliment women on their clothing, like jewelry. I mean, the stuff that's not so, shall I say, questionable compliments. Neutral compliments, fellas. Shoes and jewelry, always a good compliment. Just saying. Just giving you a nice, earthy tip, you guys. And that flows into number 4. Say something. Say anything to start a right? Especially women, we dress for each other, right? We dress for each other, because we figure we're the only ones who really notice. The men just go, hey, put together, great dress. We're all dressed up for each other. We've changed our shoes a couple times. I mean, please let that woman know her shoes look nice. But say something. Make it so it's easy to talk about. And that something should not always be about business. It should be personal. Because that, again, that is saying, I acknowledge you. Before I know anything about the what you do, I acknowledge the who of you. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
All right. The other thing for saying something, sometimes it has to be small talk. Now, like when I was telling you I started working in the nonprofit field at 17. Now, these were all business corporate types. I worked for an entrepreneurship center, if you all can believe that. I started in a training center for entrepreneurs. Run you through a 14-week program, boom, you're an entrepreneur, and wow, it was fun. But I was networking with a lot of corporate types because I was part of the fundraising crew. I was actively asking people for money and softening them up by my charm and disposition. And so it was all about talking and exploring who they are. So they're like me, who represents this wonderful organization you need to open up your wallet for. So I would scan the headlines in the newspapers, because we didn't have Kindle, we didn't have devices back then. I would literally have a subscription to the San Francisco newspaper group in San Francisco. Yes, in the city, not just the Bay Area. I would scan those newspapers, and let me tell you, I am not a sports fan. I don't care about who's playing who and who won what, but I knew it. I knew all about it. I knew basic stats. I knew some players, and really, all you have to say, hey, how was that ball game last night, and just let him talk. Because people are waiting to literally start talking about themselves. Think about the conversations you've had so far. This is what I do. This is my business. It's so wonderful. When really, the art of conversation is all about asking those questions and getting them to reveal. Getting them to reveal all that information you want to bring up in conversation later. So say something, anything to get them to start rolling on themselves. Start talking to you about who all they are. That's really, really important, because then they'll think you are like the best conversationalist and I just want to hang out with you, and then you got to actively get rid of them. You got to say, oh, see, okay, that's when you bring in your wingman and you say, oh, I just saw someone I've been looking for all night long. I'll talk to you in a little bit, and walk over there, hang out with your wingman and make them seem like, oh my gosh, there you are. See, that's the power of a wingman. I'm just saying, if you haven't ever tried that strategy, I highly recommend. So say something, anything, but have something to say by reading and keeping up with your industry and kind of funny tidbits. Humor's good. Humor's a good opener. Compliments are great. Use all those strategies. And 5, remember the 5 E's. I cannot emphasize this enough. Make an effort. Again, you got your happy music in your car. Make an effort. You got your own energy up. So make an effort. Bring your energy. I don't care how tired you are. It does not matter, because you know why? The person you're talking to does not care. And the very first impression is the hardest one to shake. That's the hardest one. Oh, you can't come back to them a month later when you see them at that event again and say, you know what, last month I was totally bummed out and tired. They won't even care. All their subconscious will say is, oh, there she goes. Here she comes. She bummed me out last time. Where can I go? Where's my wingman? Right? That stays with you. You may not have a conscious memory of that interaction, but your subconscious is going, ooh, I don't like them. I don't know why I'm running. okay? So bring that good energy and exude enthusiasm. Man, you are in your business because you love it. It is your passion. Why not convey that to the other person? You are missing so much in a relationship, so much fullness in a relationship without conveying that enthusiasm about your business. All right, here comes the mints. This is the best part, you guys. I just talked about all the complimenting the women and all this stuff. Let me tell you, I compliment the men too.
Thank you.
And I know it's completely inappropriate, but I've got one of those memories for smell. And I love a good smell in person. Male, female, I don't care who you are. But I also have a good memory for not so good smell. So mints, think about that. That is a strategy. We are talking like this close to each other in a lot of networking events because you can't hear and it gets loud and you're right in here. Bring those mints. And here's a trick. I told someone this and he laughed and laughed. If I whip out my mints and I take one myself and I offer you one, take one. Take one or two, depending on how you taste, you know? Because honestly, enough said. And really, number 6, dress appropriately. Dress the way you want to be seen as. A lot of us have to fake it till we make it, right? And so you want to fake it to that higher level of you, that higher level of success that you want to, maybe it's literally fake it and you want to attain. And if you don't know what the appropriate style of dress is, ask someone who's been there before, the person who invited you. I was invited to a luncheon today. I said, girl, I'm really feeling like wearing flip-flops. What's appropriate? And she said, these women's dress pretty nice. And I said, no more flip-flops, forget that. I don't care about my comfort, I care about my image. You should too. Because again, first impressions are hard to shake, good or bad. And so it's better to show up and be the girl who is overdressed. Woohoo, I get more attention. Than the girl who is underdressed and you just think, you're not professionals. I don't know if I want to do business with someone who doesn't take themselves seriously. Right? And manners. This is something that I preach to my kids about. I have three kids, 8, 11, and 20. The one who I had the most problems with, my 20-year-old. My 8 and 11-year-old have those manners down. Oh, they're so pretty. My 20-year-old has her legs all over the table. And, you know, I'm like, how did a foot get on the table? How is that even possible? She's long-legged, I'm just saying. She's beautiful, but wow. Atrocious manners. And so, as it pertains to manners, here we have a beautiful buffet, right? Now, I know some people who are like grazers and they just, you know, they found their spot where they're comfortable and they just kind of hang out at the buffet table. Bad. Because it's there for going and coming back. And it's a great conversation starter. You know, you get there, you're holding on to your food. It's like, oh man, this fruit is delicious. Do you eat a lot of fruit? Do you like pineapple? Oh, I'm allergic to pineapple. Conversation starter. You know, I'll nudge someone and go, hey, did you know there's clam chowder over there? Oh, it's really good. I hate clam chowder. Okay, getcha. Why do you hate clam chowder? And then you have another conversation. Or what did I say to you, Aaron? They have clam chowder. I'm from San Francisco, not passing that up. And I said, what? You're from San Francisco? Exactly. Because those are great ways to move away. You're moving somewhere. You're promoting good movement. And then you're coming back and continuing that conversation. They may not have picked a spot to sit yet, but guess what? They're making you their next new networking buddy. Okay? Because you were friendly. And so your manners are really, really important. And God forbid, while you're eating, you're talking, food spilling out. Whoa, I'd quickly find my networking buddy and go, oh, there he is. I'm going to sit over here and save me a spot. Okay? Because those are things that are important. But let's get to number 8. Avoid common crutches. Now, I talked about a lot about my networking wingman. Your networking wingman is to get you in and out of trouble. They're there to soften up the room with you, but they're not there to be stuck to like glue. You know that person. You know them very well. That's why you trusted them to hang out with you, right? Get in the car and talk about everybody you met. That's my favorite part. We like to quarterback every single networking event we do together. And if we're not riding together, we call each other on the way home, because generally it's like, seriously, did you have a conversation with so-and-so? Wow, they eat crazy. I can't wait to see them at the next event. Or did you talk to this beautiful young lady who was amazing? I don't remember what they did, but they're who they were. So amazing, and I wish you got a chance to talk to her. You know her. And we'll share that information back and forth. But don't get stuck to your wingman, your networking butt, okay? Also, don't arrive too early or too late. My mom was the queen of arriving at family functions half an hour early. My aunt's running around trying to get stuff on the table. At events, your hosts are doing the same thing. They're running around trying to make it look all stage ready for everyone. And sometimes having that other person in the mix really does disrupt the setup and the stage that they're trying to set for you. It's so important that you walk in at exactly the right time, where the person at the front desk is ready to give you your name tag or whatever they need to do. Handle that important phone call if you arrive way too early. Same with coming in a little late. Let's say you are coming to an event that you really, really love, and the speaker's speaking and someone walks in the door. I'm sure you all have that experience where there's a little ruckus. And, I'm not particularly nervous speaking up here, but a lot of speakers are. And it throws them off their game, and they just start kind of tripping over their thing. That's pretty rough. And so one day you'll be the speaker up here, and you'll realize, too late, not so good a deal. I always like to walk in during the transition periods. If I need to come to something late and I know someone's speaking, I actually hang by the door outside so I can hear but not disrupt. Okay? So just think about that. That's one of those common crutches. Oh, and we mentioned this one earlier, don't drink too much. It's always better to drink after than before. Who wants to have you dancing on a table with your own music in your head? That's fun in college, not so much here. Again, why? Because first impressions are hard to shake. Okay? All right. Remember the 3 C's. I love things in threes. Anybody else love threes? I have a number thing, not a, 3 C's. All right. Courtesy. Kill them with kindness. Open that door, pull out that chair. Can I get you some water when you're going to get your own glass refilled? Those common courtesies, again, those are positives in that subconscious relationship that you're building with someone. I saw a gentleman and I sat at their table. I saw him ask a couple people at his table when he got up to get something to drink. Is there anything I can get for you? Is what I imagined you said, because they're like, oh no. And then you ask someone else. And I love that, because that shows that you care. It shows that you are outside of yourself, caring for another individual. Isn't that what we all want? Someone to notice and care for us? Care for us even in a small, very small way. And in a networking event, it is a great time to exhibit your finer qualities. Caring is one of them. Courtesy is one of them. And charm. Okay, now, charm can be a double-edged sword where you go charm, manipulation, I don't know. But you know what? Who doesn't like someone who's charming? Put your best features forward. You know, laugh at someone's silly jokes. Pat them on the back and tell them it's all right, you know. I love to whisper crazy things in people's ears because I think I don't come in an expected package. You know, I'm like that comedian on the inside. And I don't want everybody to think I'm this stuffy speaker. I'm this person who's doing this great speech or whatever. Yeah, I like to be the unexpected. So I'll tell someone something crazy. And because I show the real me, oh, hey, I like hers. I know a lot of people in here, and I was not expecting a fan base to come up. You know, when I sat over here and people kept coming up to me and saying, I came just for you, I was like, I must have charmed the pants off all of you. I love it. I mean, but that's who I am. Be who you are. Be authentic. Because your authenticity is actually pretty charming and cute. You know, don't try to be who you're not. Everybody knows when you're being inauthentic and playing a role. You know, that's not so fun. And lastly, this is what I do the best. Show chutzpah. And yes, it sounds like it starts with an H, but it's actually spelled with a C for those of you detail people. C-H-U-T-Z-P-A-H. Guts. Show some guts out here. Because it takes a lot of nerve to be in business. Who of you think your business doesn't take a lot of nerve? Nobody. See? Because not average people become entrepreneurs. Applaud that. Know you are a gutsy person. It takes guts to be in the profession you're in, especially if you're in a really competitive profession. It takes guts. Remember that when you show up somewhere. I have nerve to be in my business. You know, there are a lot of speakers who can speak on all kinds of wonderful topics, but I got guts. I got guts to say, this is who I am. I may not be formally pedigreed, but you know what? People like me, and that's okay. It takes guts. Okay, finally, on our manners, number 10. This is my favorite. Use the AT&T test with your sense of humor. Now I talked a lot about being funny, okay? Now, there is a difference between being funny and telling jokes. I can't tell a joke to save my life or the lives of my children. And you know they're important to me. So don't tell jokes. What you want to do is have your humor be appropriate, timely, and tasteful. Appropriate, timely, and tasteful. You don't ever want to be degrading. You may speak that joke or funny little comment to someone who gets deeply offended. You know, because your timing is off. And you know what? You're not a professional humorist. And it just didn't work out well. But really, be funny. If you are naturally funny, be funny. Because people know you're trying to like hold in your, don't hurt yourself. Don't hold that funny stuff in. My children think I am like the weirdest parent on the planet. Because of course they only have me and my husband. But they just think it's funny because I'll sit there at my desk and laugh all by myself. months ago, there was this Million Hug Challenge. Did you hear about that? Million Hug Challenge. Where a bunch of monks set out to pass on 1,000,000 hugs. So they started with their community, and then they went to the neighboring towns, and they expected this Million Hug Challenge to go around the world. Well, guess who read the article? Me. Guess who took it to my next networking event? Me. So I was just hugging away, because that is stuff that you want to pass on. You know, you want to pass on your authenticity. You want to pass on your passion. You want to pass on the fact that you are likable, worth knowing. And so the next time you go to a networking event, I hope you keep your mindset, mints in your pocket, and your manners in check. I'm Jane, and that's the end of my speech, but I have a wonderful drawing. I brought a book to give away, and you know, I like things, I don't know about you, but I love little books. Books that are kind of nuggets and 2 lines. And I have Life's Little Instruction Book, because you know what? You think there's no instruction book for life? Well, here's one, and I'll give you one. But what I'm going to do, if you turn over your page, I want everybody to pull out a business card since you have your pen in hand, and I'm going to start my basket over here. Don't put your business cards in yet. Hold on until I ask you to do a few things. Did everybody enjoy those nuggets? How are you gonna? All right, so I want you to actually write 3 things, and they're very, very short on the back of your card, because that'll help me really adjust what I'm all about. If you received any value from my talk today, on number 1, write yes. Okay, real quick. Number 2, if you'd like to know more about my business, write yes. I will call you and we will hang out. Now that you know a little bit about me, you might really have fun. And number 3, here's where I'm going to pull out all of my nerve, all of my chutzpah. If you know other groups that you think would value this type of information or other speaking topics that I have listed on this page, write yes and write yourself a little tiny note as to what that group might be. Now, here's my caveat. Here's my disclaimer. Everyone who puts their card in the basket will be entered whether or not they answered these 3 questions into the drawing. So you still have a chance. You don't have to answer these questions. But please write yes if you found value in my talk. 2, if you'd like to hang out with me or at least know a little bit more about my business. We don't need to hang out. I could just send you some information. Or 3, if you have another group, because we're all connected, that you think that they would find some great value in. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back at the end, Rick, and do the drawing so we can continue on our agenda. And hopefully my little basket will make it all the way around. Go ahead and start that. Thank you, everyone.